Okay, so we got ourselves a nice 11-pound northern pike at Gull Lake, Alberta, and we're going to show you guys how to fillet these northern pike and get all the Y bones out. So the first thing we're going to do is, my fillet knife's a little flimsy, so I usually use a little better knife, and I like to cut beside the vent rather than inside it, just so you don't get any feces in the meat. And you can use this same technique on whitefish and walleye, and it's a little bit easier to do this on whitefish because the Y bones don't have as much of a curve in them. So you just slice up in between the fins here, all the way up in between the front two fins, all the way up into the jaw, like so. And then I like to come back here and cut the vent out and nicked it a little bit there. Get that guy out of there. Try and keep the guts and any other stuff away from your meat. Just pull it all out towards the front of the fish, and come back here and grab your air bladder and pull it all the way up to the front. Once you got that done, I like to take this bigger knife to cut the head off, and just come in here behind the gills and cut down towards the front of the head, right in behind this fin. Roll them over. Do the same thing on this side. Break his backbone. And that way, all of the stomach and all the intestines and everything are still intact. We have a little bit of feces over here I want to clean up. Okay, so now once we got that done, I want to wash all of this blood out of the back. There's a bunch of coagulated blood in the back here. Runs along the spine. Make sure you use cold water. This pike was 11 pounds and 91 centimeters. Very nice jack. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to come in here with a little heavier knife and just break all of the rib bones on either side of the spine all the way along. Try not to cut in too far. Just enough to break the bones. You're not trying to cut the meat at this point. This guy's got a little thicker rib bones than most. Try and point your knife in towards there's a ridge of bones that run along the back of the spine, and you want to point your knife towards that ridge of bones so that you're not losing any meat. And this knife is sharp, believe it or not. Now you can take your fillet knife, you can come in here and you can clean up that meat along the back. Just shave it back onto your fillet. And everybody does this a little bit differently. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way that I've found over the years through trial and error. And waste the least amount of meat and you end up with no bones in your meat. And you're just cutting down all the way to the hide on the back side. You just do that on both sides. Oh, didn't get a bone here. And a lot of the other videos that I've seen online, taking these Y bones out, they waste a lot of meat. And I want to show guys that you can actually do this without wasting hardly any meat at all, with the same result. And I've tried a lot of these methods myself, and a lot of the times you still end up with bones in the meat if you don't do it this way. So once you get to this point, you can cut through the hide, come to the back here where you started, and just poke through the hide at the back, right there. Point your knife towards the back of the fish, and we're just going to cut along the spine and just get on top of this dorsal fin at the back, and then we come to the bottom and just cut till we get on top of that fin. Once you get your knife on top of those fins, you can just ride the backbone all the way to the tail. Just work your knife back and forth, follow the backbone, and then you can just come through here and cut the hide. So that's one half of our fish. Let me just do the same thing to the other side. Just get on top of both of these fins. Just ride the bones all the way to the back. And we'll cut our hide. Okay, so now we can take our fins off and just ring around the fin. So, come down to the halfway point and poke through. Poke through under all the bone. Trim that out. Okay, so our rib bones along here, you can see them easy enough, covered in this silver skin. Now the Y bones are just like the rib bones. The rib bones come down and they hook towards the bottom of the fish. The Y bones are just above the rib bones, and they hook down and they come towards the top of the fish, just like the rib bones do. They look just like this if you could see them underneath all of this skin. And these are the Y bones right here, all of these little white tips that you can see sticking up, especially towards the front of the fish here. You can see them better. And they come back just past the vent at the back here, a couple inches past the vent. And you can just cut that off once you get the hide off, and that'll be a boneless fillet there. So first thing we're going to do actually is we're going to take the hide off. I like to bring it over to the edge of the table. This fish is going to be a little difficult because it's a little bigger than my knife. I might lose a little bit of meat here. You just want to cut down, get yourself a little finger hold, and just ride that hide, the back and forth motion all the way. I just like them to be over at the edge of the table here, so I got some room to work. And just sliding in underneath here, trying not to cut through the hide. I just cut through here at the top. I think I'm going to have to just deal with that later. It's a little difficult to do the bigger the fish gets. Okay, that didn't turn out too bad. There's our hide. Here's our fillet. Get a little bit of that dorsal fin on the top here, you got to take off. And that only happens because I didn't get it all out when I was trimming them. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just cut along the top of the rib bones, just cutting in 1/2 centimeter or so, just to raise the ends up. Cut them all the way to the last ones at the back. Now with the rib bones, you want to come up to the front, start in 1.5 inches or so back, and just poke in underneath the rib bones, and then just poke out on the other side, like that. And then just get yourself a little finger hold, and then just skin those bones out. You can see the knife underneath the rib bones. You can just cut those all the way out. They kind of dip down towards the vent at the back here. So you just cut that right out. And you come up to the front and take out this little bit. Okay, now some guys can stop here if you don't want to waste any meat whatsoever. We've wasted very little meat getting to this point. So you've got a nice long fillet. The Y bones are still in here, but you can cut that up and you can fry it, and you can take those bones out while you're eating. Or if you're like me, we can take those bones out right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feel in here for where the bones end, and that's somewhere right in here. So we'll just trim our tail piece off. You'll be able to feel the bones if you're too far forward. There's nothing there, so that's a boneless fillet right there. One boneless fillet. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to trim just on the top side, the back strap side of all of these Y bones, just on the top side of them. So you come in here and we're just cutting in and just on the top side of them here, all the way along. Okay, now because of the way the rib bones work, you can just make sure you have all the tips on the bottom side. And because of the way these Y bones work, you can just cut straight down to where you feel the bones on the bottom. Cut all the way down, all the way along. And then the Y bones go down and they hook up towards the top, so we turn our knife horizontal. And they end about 3/4 of the way through the back strap. So you're slicing like this and then kind of diving down at the end of the bones. And this is my own method that I've come up with. I tried all the other methods that I could find, and this is one boneless backstrap. But this, I've tried all the other methods, and I came up with this, just dove in there and tried to take them out, and this is what I found. So I like to leave them full length like this. I'll explain that after. So these are our Y bones here, just like the rib bones were. Look just like the rib bones, just upside down. So now what you're going to do, instead of starting at the front of the fish to take these out, you're going to start at the back because they're angled the other way. So we start at the back, you just come in underneath of them, a couple inches in, and just like the rib bones, you just cut. These ones are a little trickier to get out than the rib bones were. You don't want to lose too much meat on the back side here. That part's kind of tricky. Really want to keep your knife angled good. Just ride those bones all the way. And those are the Y bones. Like that. I'll show you the rib bones. They're just like the rib bones, almost exactly the same size. And you lose a little bit more meat than you do when you take the rib bones out. There's hardly any loss on the rib bones. These guys you lose about a ½ centimeter when you get good at it. First time you do it, you're going to lose a little bit more. And then what you want to do is you're going to want to rinse these up. And some jack have mystery bones, especially down towards the vent area. They're not attached to anything, they're just kind of floating there. So you want to rinse these, and if you're going to package them, I rinse them, put them on a plate, and then before I package them, I rinse them and put them in the package. And every time I'm feeling all of these fillets looking for bones. And that's the way you get rid of all the Y bones. Now I'm not going to do up the other half here, I'll save your time. But that is one completely boneless northern pike. And we've only lost an extra ½ centimeter getting those Y bones out. And I like to leave them full length like this because you can pop that right in the smoker. And they're going to shrivel up a little bit, so he's going to shrivel up that much. Same with these guys, and these make awesome snacks, smoked up, these back straps. They're also excellent for deep frying. If you save all of these for deep frying, you can save all of your tail pieces for frying, and then you've got all your long fillets for smoking. Or you can thaw that out and cut them into nice thick fillets. So that is how I've learned to take the Y bones out, and I hope you guys use it and enjoy it, and I hope this saves a lot of waste on these northern pike, because these guys give our lives for us, so you want to respect them and get as much meat as you can. So, good fishing.